To the Bonzolium Vintage Drum Tip of the Week, or the Decade, or the Day, or whatever the hell it is. Here is a standard issue, well, more or less. I won't really say purely standard issue. Rail Consolette Ludwig, because this baby was made, I think, from about 58 to about 62, meaning specifically, do you see these stove bolts, these slotted stove bolts, which means that the banana, or the rail, is removable from the two brackets, okay? This is a 4-hole setup, standard issue, pretty much from the late 50s all the way till the 80s. If you ordered a drum from Ludwig with a rail consolette, okay? Now the neat thing about this is we know with the 1962 or 63 and later, they're not readily removable. You know, to actually remove the rail from the brackets, you would have to remove the 4-hole and the whole thing, you'd have to get inside the drum to do it, okay? The neat thing about this particular sort of era, again, is that those bad boys come right off, meaning the two stove bolt thingies, okay? So what you can do is, apart from, hey, you know, wow, you know, the thing comes off, well, it actually means a lot, because what you can do is, as we know, these rails, you know, they're kind of a pain in the ass to, you know, typically what would happen is you'd undo this nut on this bolt, and then you'd push, or you'd slide it this way, or you'd slide it this way, which would scratch and possibly damage the drum, which actually happened to me when I sold a mint 2012-14 Sky Blue to Bill Pace down in Georgia back in 1997. I'll get onto that story as we go forward after we get to the beef here. Okay, neat thing about this is you get your setting, right? You find out exactly where you want your tom-tom, torque it on there, right? Get this baby set here. The neat thing is that then when you can just take this on and off at every gig or rehearsal, you can take this baby and just stick it in one of your cases or your cymbal bag or whatever, right? And then the only thing that is left on the drum is the two brackets that are left, which of course are pretty much flush with the tops of the lugs that you'll use. These are the mock lugs, the marching lugs, so I think they have a slightly lower profile. But this, of course, does several things, apart from giving you such convenience in getting, operating and using a rail consolette without worrying about damage to your drum, without worrying about your strap slipping, because now you have it torqued on. You never have to continually or continuously move it this way or whatever. So this guy, as you see, comes off. Hello. Okay. This is the banana, or the rail, right? Okay. So what happens is now, of course, we just have these guys, okay? Here. Now it's about flush with the lugs. So you can pop this guy in and out of your cases real easy, out of the bags, even in and out of your car if it's tight, without worrying about this extra thing about this high that scratches the HE double toothpicks out of whatever you're doing, and or punches a hole in through the bass drum, or at least scratches the shit out of it, right? So back in the day, all right, anyway, so that's my idea. Now, I have seen, if I'm not mistaken, reissue, I think I've seen reissues that have the 4-hole bracket like this, but most of the ones I see are the 2-hole Gretsch or Wahlberg and Auger ones that are usually slightly longer as they were, and you're just 2-hole. But again, you could make those, you could fabricate those where the rail or the banana would be removable, okay? You could, of course, if you wanted to, any manufacturer, Steve Maxwell, wonderful guy, by the way, you could do it where you have maybe some wing, you could screw it on physically and, have little, wing screws here, but it would be kind of neat to probably use the same old Ludwig design here, or WFL design, if it indeed was developed before they got their car. Oh, probably wasn't. But see that stove bolt, standard issue slot stove bolt. Guy, they screw in, right on, right off. This guy comes off again. So Steve, I had talked to Steve about this, and I think he wasn't quite sure what I was talking about. I mean, it's hard to explain if you don't have one handy. Again, here you go. These are actually pretty high-grade metal. You could get a higher grade when you won't have to worry about any strippage. Again, I think somebody should do this, either Maxwell or Gibraltar or Ludwig. Just make these babies. They come right off. Much easier to get in and out of a case. You don't have to worry about it damaging the drum. Okay, let me tell the story real fast about the drum that I damaged. Because if you see, and I'm sure this has happened to people, this nut this nut here, you know, when you typically what you do is you would undo this guy, and you'd sort of fold it either this way or this way, okay? Which would usually result in some scratching of the drum or some wear, not to mention, of course, the difficulty of getting in and out, and this might scratch your car or anything else, or even your hands or your face if you're carrying the drum. So, but what happened was on a particular drum set that I had found back in 1997, a sky blue 2012-14, this thing was as pristine as you get. I remember I opened the drums up, you know, the smell of the Ludwig paint that hit you, it was like, oh, I wish you could put that in a jar and just smell it from time to time. Like a ether kind of thing that would make you drummy happy. Anyway, this baby, because I had put it in the box, I packed it really well, but somebody at UPS must have just hit the side of the box either, because the actual box didn't even really look that damaged, but it forced this through the thin 3-ply beautiful shell and destroyed the bass drum, okay? So the rack tom was inside. The drums were returned to me. UPS, I did of course have insurance. This was back in the days when you would go to UPS and these other places where there'd be like a triple kitty kind of thing where you'd use a ballpoint pen to write all the information, the weight, you know, your name, where it's going, and of course they'd take 2 or 3 copies. They'd give you the pink copy or the yellow copy. Older folks remember that. But what happened was, of course, when I filed the claim, I actually ended up using, it was Ned Ingerman, is that his name? He used to send out that paper. Remember that paper? It said Vintage Drum Center or whatever out in Iowa. And of course his drums in there for the time, I mean, they were good clean stuff, I think, but they were expensive as hell, right? But I was able to actually substantiate what I had insured the drums for using that publication, because it was an official publication. So I did get something out of that vintage drum guide thingy. But what happened was, this is a quick, sort of maybe a annoying story for people, but I had written, there's a collector I used to, you know, sometimes sell stuff to, Bill Pace down in Forsyth, Georgia. Hi, Bill. How are you? I haven't seen you forever. Hope everything's smooth. Anyway, he received the damaged drums. They came back to me. I had to file the claim. Again, the rail had punched through this beautiful 20-inch mint museum piece. So when I filed the claim with UPS, I got the check back, right? And I got all the, whatever, right? I think in those days, I know these 2012-14s go for $1 trillion these days, but back in those days, I don't know, maybe they went for $800 or something. And I probably sold it to Bill for $500 or something, you know? It was, you know, it was a slumlord drum dealer. Anyway, so, I'm just kidding, kind of. Anyway, so what happens here is I get the check back from UPS, okay? Open the envelope. There's the check. Now, Bill and I back in the day, he was a big drum, he used to buy and sell a lot of drums back in the day. He probably still does on eBay. I used to, you know, he's the king of drums, right? But I used to refer to myself as the king of drums just to be like, hey, I'm the king of drums. So I had written on the return receipt that was actually on the box, where my name would be in my address, I wrote King, capital K-I-N-G, thought it'd be funny, Bill used to get a kick out of it, or at least I thought he did. When I got the check back from UPS, when the pay to the order up, it said Kong, in capital letters, which was kind of funny for about 2 seconds. The smartass on the other end clearly saw King, so he was like, oh yeah, well how do you like Kong? Anyway, so that's what happened there. It took me another month to get my proper check back, but before we end this video, I would like to demonstrate or make a plug on this drum key, okay? This is a CNC drum key. Not to be confused with the CNC, the Bill Cardwell or the Carrington Brothers kind of thing. But there's a fella, Bill Rotella, out of New Jersey, sells these, okay? I think he got a whole bunch of them back in the day, and he packages them. Here you can see CNC drum key. And you can buy them from Bill. Go to billrotella.com, okay? Here, you know, I'll give you his number. God, I'm as blind as a bat. Jesus. 203-756 drum. Okay, 203-756 drum. Or look for him on, he does sell them on eBay. He used to sell them, you get a pair of these babies for $8, or at least that was the opening bid. You'd pay for shipping. Sometimes they might give a bid up to 15 or 20 bucks. I know there's another fella who I presume probably bought a whole bunch from Bill and sells them on there for 20 bucks a piece. Either way, it's a great key, CNC drum key. I really recommend these guys. It's like a Ludwig sta-set key of yore, except that the in this case the screwdriver portion is, you can fold it back. Get that. You can fold this. You can easily fold this guy right back up like so. Right? And there it goes. Now, of course, it has your standard drum key. It has your slotted for Premiere and Sonar. And then it has the, this is a marvelous invention. See, it's like you can, it's like a socket. You can stick it right on one of these babies, right? It goes right on there, so you don't have to use the pliers. Oh, that one's kind of roughed up a little by many years of plier use. This one is not. So you'll see this guy. This guy goes right on. Okay, see that? Isn't that terrific? We're familiar with that with the sta-set key and or Sherry Willoughby's sandcast that you made years ago. Anyway, and you'll see this sort of, this groove here, sort of this channel, which is for... let me move this guy over here. This is a marching drum I acquired, 26 by 14, because as you know, I love the red, or at least as I know, the silver and red stripe. I just love it so. So, and here's the modern version. You know, typically now you use your hands here to turn this baby. Well, back in the day, there'd either be a bolt, right, just like the one I showed you, which you could just go, or there'd be a smaller wing screw that would be on there, which this channel then, you know, grips the wing screw. So these are really great. If you can't find a Ludwig sta-set, which have been bid kind of through the roof because they're collectible, but those also honestly kind of suck because the bottom, the screwdriver on the bottom, the slotted screwdriver on the bottom is, it's just sharp. It's like a sort of a big crucifix, you know, and it always sort of pokes through your bag or whatever. So I highly recommend these guys. They're very practical. Give Bill the business. Wonderful guy. He also has written and sells a lot of drum books. He's out of New Jersey. Bill Rotella. I think it's BillRotella.com. I'm not sure. Type into Google Bill Rotella. You'll see him. BillRotella, I believe. So there you go. It's a wonderful key. See, and it fits right into my shaky hands. Sorry, I have a familial tremor. It's a long story. So I will at some point get these drums up, this big 26, and make a video upstairs in a live room. It'll be great, or I'll go to the studio, which is further up on 3. Okay? So, there was one more thing. Oh, yeah. Remember the Costanza thing at the end? George Costanza, the hand model, and he picks up the iron. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching my videos. Hopefully this is very helpful. Again, I put this out there for regular folk that do have old Ludwig 4-holers. I just recommend going on eBay or wherever. Keep your eyes peeled for these babies that have the stole bolt at each end of the banana or the rail, because you can just take them on and off. For manufacturers, Steve Maxwell, again, who's a super nice guy. You got to see this guy do his paradiddles. Super nice guy. God love him for what he does for the drum community. You know, he has, his is the 2-hole Wahlberg and Auger reissue rail. I think it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, his is, but I have seen reissues, I think, that have 4-hole. Anyway, so for Ludwig or Gibraltar, whoever makes these guys now, consider the removable rail. Again, so you can find your position here, torque it on, don't have to worry about doing it and undoing it, and doing it and undoing it, and doing it, and, you know, punching a hole in your drum or scratching the shit out of something or getting caught on something or other, or punching it through a drum and getting a check made out to Kong from UPS in a time machine back to 1997. Okay, that is my recommendation. I've been meaning to make a drum video specific about this because I did have it on my Vista lights I got rid of because I really like these. I bought 4 or 5 of them and I sort of keep them for different kits I have with them. So thanks for watching. I have a rover video which I'm gonna make. And then another drum story, or I mean another Bonzolium story, which I'm going to get out there very shortly. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. If you get a chance, watch my Bonzolium promotional video. Farting around with YouTube editor, I think it came out okay. But thanks for watching my videos. Happy New Year, happy drumming, and I really appreciate all the support I get from my channel. Thank you.